All right, Progressive Hoodie here. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Today, I'm going to be giving you my South Carolina primary predictions. So, I'll just start from the bottom up, okay? In sixth place, I'm going to put Klobuchar, okay? I don't think there needs to be very much explanation of that. I mean, it took Al Sharpton getting up in front of like a whole group of people and being like, do you see that black dude over there? You need to talk to a black person. You see black? See, South Carolina is 60% black? Right. Black, black. Black, go talk to black, you win black. You talk black, you win. Okay. Like, that's literally what it took us to walk Amy Klobuchar through in order for her to understand the importance of the black vote in South Carolina. Why is she still running in the race? Like, why is she still in this race? If she doesn't understand the importance of the black vote in South Carolina, what makes her think she would have any chance of being the Democratic Party's nominee? Or should be? Anyway, fifth place, Warren. Elizabeth Warren. She's been on a little bit of a downward path lately. And as you all know, I'm not losing any sleep over it. I'm not an Elizabeth Warren fan anymore. Been done with that. Been over her candidacy, over her lying, over her two-faced nonsense. I'm just done with all of it. So I'm not even really losing sleep over it. She will probably finish fifth. And fourth, I'm thinking will probably be Buttigieg. He is I believe fourth right now in the Real Clear Politics average of polls, but it is really close between Buttigieg and Steyer. So it's quite possible that could go either way. I spent a lot of time thinking about which way I would go with those two. I think in the end, I settled on fourth for Buttigieg because even though he has been in a lot of these states outperforming his polls and doing a little bit better than it's predicted beforehand, I still feel like here in South Carolina, with the black vote being such an important part of this, and with him polling the way that he does with that vote nationally, and with so much investment that was going into those early states, not as much here, I think that we're going to see that he's not going to really challenge for any serious, he's not going to really make a serious, he's not really in contention. And I would not be surprised if he finishes under that 15% threshold, certainly in the state of South Carolina as a whole, but also in the particular districts. So in third, I'm going with Tom Steyer. Now, Tom Steyer has invested a lot in South Carolina. Like, he invested a lot in Nevada too, and to be fair, he didn't get that much out of that. But he has also invested a lot in South Carolina, and it will be interesting to see if he receives the benefit from that he's been kind of looking to get. And he might. But looking at the polls, looking at how this is shaping up, the momentum coming out of these other states, I don't expect him to finish in the top two here. So I'm thinking it's going to be a third place finish for Steyer. But we'll see. Again, the Real Clear Politics average of polls also does have him in third. But I would not be surprised if he finishes fourth. Could happen. Buttigieg finds a way to outperform the polls often. So in second place, going to have to go with Bernie Sanders. Now, obviously, I am a Sanders supporter, and I am hoping that he will find some miracle way to pull it out. I mean, if there's any candidate who can do it, it's Bernie Sanders. If there's any campaign that has the strategy and the connectedness, the on the ground people and the organization, the infrastructure to do it, it's the Sanders campaign. But having said that, Joe Biden has a pretty nice stranglehold on South Carolina. And you've got someone like Representative Clyburn coming out there and being like, look, this is who we going with, South Carolina. That really does, I think, resonate, especially with the older people. Now, it'll be interesting to see what the turnout is like. I still don't sense that Biden has the sort of like gung-ho, yay, hooray, we're so excited, we can't wait to get out there and vote for him type of crowd. I still sense and feel that he has more of the default support. This was Obama's vice president, hashtag we know Joe, that sort of thing. And I feel that with Bernie Sanders, it's truly a grassroots movement. Multiracial, multi-ethnic, people from all different backgrounds, and a lot of young people who are fired up and ready to go, and fired up and ready to get to those polls. And so I still sense that there's a little bit of a passion gap there between these two candidates. And so that could help Bernie Sanders to outperform the poll a little bit. I don't know if he's going to outperform it by as much as he needs to in order to actually take South Carolina from Biden. So obviously my prediction for first place is Joe Biden will win the state of South Carolina. However, I think that Bernie Sanders will do well in some districts. Maybe he finishes behind Biden in all of them. I don't know. Maybe some of them. We've got some university students who really show up and show out and don't play games, and they come into that poll. And maybe as a result of that, he does a little bit better. But in any case, I do expect him to finish above the threshold of 15% in most of the districts. And I do expect him to finish above the 15% threshold statewide. There were some polls that had him under that, actually. I think there was one that had him tied with Tom Steyer at like 11. And I think that same poll might have had him below Buttigieg. I don't see that happening, but we'll check it out tonight in real time. I also don't, I hope anyway, I don't know if I think that it won't happen or I hope it won't happen, but I don't think we'll see the kind of blowout that we saw Bernie Sanders deliver to the field in Nevada. I don't think we'll see that. But I do think that we will see a Joe Biden victory tonight. Also, I think that Bernie Sanders will do well enough in South Carolina to leave South Carolina with a delegate lead. Okay? If he does, that will not be, don't turn on the mainstream media and be disappointed when that's not the narrative, okay? The narrative post South Carolina is going to be a couple of things. Number one, Joe Biden won. This is the Biden bounce, the Biden bounce, whatever. Joe-mentum. Yes, the dude has never won a single state in all of the years that he has been this is like his third time running for president, I believe. He has never won a state before today. Today he's poised to win his first ever state out of all the times that this dude has run for president, okay? So this is not a bounce. This is not momentum. This is not a springboard. This is like stop the bleeding. This is to stop hemorrhaging. That's what this is. But the media is not going to cover it like that. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's Joe Mentum. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's the most incredible thing ever. I can't even believe it. Wow, it's just amazing. It's just incredible. Who would have thought? Like, this is incredible. It's like, dude, isn't this the guy who was winning South Carolina by like 50 points before we started all this? Like, back when he announced this was in the bag, it was like, don't campaign there. Like, why would you guys even campaign there? You're literally wasting time and resources. Why would you go there? That's how much of a difference it made. Like, if he was still polling now like he was, I'd be like, yeah, Bernie Sanders should definitely not be wasting any time in South Carolina this week at all. He should be in. He is coming here to Virginia, and I will be going to a rally today for Bernie Sanders. He will be in here in Virginia. He will be in, I believe somebody said Massachusetts. I don't know if it's today, but I think, he's going to be in Elizabeth Warren's home state. I'm not sure if that's a Super Tuesday state or not. I got to look up the full list of Super Tuesday states. But regardless, like, I'd be like, yeah, that's all you need to be. Like, stay out of South Carolina. Why are you wasting time? Close up offices. Stop. We're done. Like, but he doesn't anymore. That this has closed. The gap has narrowed, and Bernie Sanders has made up some of that gap. So, personally, I believe that we're going to see a closer South Carolina than ever really should have happened based on going into this, the lead that Joe Biden had. However, that's going to be the narrative. Biden has the Joe-mentum. And number two, the calls, okay, for Bloomberg to drop out of this race. Woo! Like, it's going to be unreal. It's going to be unreal. The same people who were like, oh my gosh, you're going to run, you're going to get in, you're going to run. Like, the same people are going to be like, wait, why are you in the race? Why are you still in it? Get out, get the heck out of the race. Because they know that no one other than Bernie Sanders right now even has a shot with the way that this primary is looking like it's going to line up. Nobody other than Bernie Sanders right now has even a shot of getting to the 1,991 delegates needed to clinch the nomination with that over 50%. He's the only one that can do it right now. And Mike Bloomberg in this makes it even more impossible for someone like Joe Biden to do it. In a lot of these states, he is eating into Joe Biden's support. So I'm telling you, I already heard it before we even got to South Carolina. Now that the polls have, because remember, it was a huge gap, and then of course close. And then unfortunately, as we've come closer to South Carolina, that has sort of started to kind of open up again. And now Joe Biden enjoys a fairly comfortable lead, even in the average of polls, right? I mean, there's some outliers that are like, oh, Joe Biden will get 1,000%. Yeah, sure. But for the most part, I mean, he still has a good lead, even in polls that aren't like vastly unique, that aren't like different from the other polls. The ones that are actually kind of in the mainstream of the polls, the averages, even those say, yeah, Biden's going to win it. Like, I mean, so we need to expect that. We need to be mentally prepared for that. Just like I told you all last week, don't allow yourselves to get crazy going into Nevada. Breathe. They're going to try to pull out whatever dirty tricks they can. The same thing applies here as we go into these Super Tuesday states. They're going to be pulling out all the stops. Like I said, I already heard, I think it was Morning Joe on Friday. Somebody was like, Bloomberg should drop out Sunday if Biden wins South Carolina. Like, literally Sunday morning, he should come out and be like, hey, I'm done. Like, I'm telling you, I expect it to start tonight. I mean, if you want to play a drinking game where you, like, take a shot every time that they call for one of the centrists, especially Bloomberg, to drop out, I really think you're going to be wasted before 1 a.m. if Biden wins South Carolina. So just be careful with that game. All right. So that's it for today. And I hope you all have a wonderful Saturday. Enjoy. Deuces.